She can pick up the beginning from the
Yes,
tape.
go ahead. Welcome, everyone, to the Town of Wenham Board of Selectmen meeting for Tuesday, October 15th, 2019. This is a regularly scheduled meeting, and that we have a usual full crowd in front of us. Harry to my left, Gary Cheeseman to the back, and that...
Could go on for hours.
Pardon me?
It's twice as many people as usual.
Twice as many people as usual.
Right, when it's not fire or police.
At first, we asked for public input, and that only two people could possibly deliver that, but I guess there's nobody here. Okay. So we have a lot of announcements, as we usually do.
Geez, Jack, those fall under you.
That's right. We now have an advanced social media. You can please follow us on the Town of Wenham on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and share our pages with your friends and neighbors. We're excited, that's Anthony's words, not mine, to connect with you and provide details of upcoming events, departmental notices, photos, and updates of all things Wenham. Thank you. 2, we have flu clinics. I've already had my flu shot. Have you had your flu shot, by the way? John?
I did. Yes, you were the encouragement. You shamed me into
Still
it.
not.
I had it at the CVS, okay. The Wenham and Hamilton Boards of Select are offering 3 remaining flu clinic dates this fall. The first date is tomorrow, October 16th, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Buca Elementary School. The next date is October 24th, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Miles River Middle School cafeteria. And the third and last date is November 5th, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Hamilton Wenham Regional Library. The Wenham Board of Health will answer any questions you may have at 978-468-5520, extension 4. Call them if you want to, but you should get your flu shot. It's very important. I haven't heard any results this year about how effective the flu shot is going to be.
I haven't either.
have
That's
not
why I'm
either, no.
holding off.
Interesting. Sometimes it's
10%, 20%?
well, 20%, sometimes it's 60%, but anyway, even if it lessens the effect of it, even if it's not fully effective.
So they say, yeah.
So they say. Hydrant flushing. The Wenham Water Department will be flushing fire hydrants from October 21st to November 8th, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. They go home at 3, I think, right? Some residents may experience a drop in water pressure as well as some discoloration of the water during this process, which is only temporary and does not indicate a problem with the water. If your water does become discolored, turn on an outside faucet to clear the water line before doing any laundry or cleaning. The Water Department will be monitoring water quality during this period. Contact Eric Mansfield, our Wenham Water Superintendent, at 978-468-5520, extension 6, with any questions or concerns. Check the town website for update on hydrant flushing location. I think this is a one-a-year event, isn't it, right?
Yeah, I believe they do it once a year.
We don't do it more than that, right?
No, just once a year.
Somebody wanted to come in with
May
have a third person, I guess
add
not.
something to that?
I guess not. She'd probably here for Pumpkin Fest.
Jack, may I add something to that?
Please.
Just a quick
You
note.
flushing?
Yeah, flushing.
Okay.
Well, I just
Well, I don't
am
know.
happy to read, and I would encourage the Water Department, thank the Water Department for noting on the website the day before hydrants are going to be flushed. It's kind of like, oh, I did my laundry and it's discolored. Oh, I guess they're hydrant flushing. But if you can look and say, oh, they're coming today, then you don't do your laundry, you know. So I thank them, and I hope
I've
they
rarely
can look
noticed
into-
any discoloration myself, but they're saying it's possible discoloration.
Well,
Wenham has always had a very...
We've had this conversation because I actually had an issue one year, and it wasn't discoloration. You don't need to hear my personal issue, but I've heard it from a couple of times, and it was directly involved with water hydrant flushing, and it cost me money. So I think it's great that they let us know a day in advance if they, the night before, so that we know.
I think that's...
So I thank them for doing that.
Discoloration in your water?
Never. I have. Hamilton has been notorious for that problem, iron in the water and so forth. But Wenham's quality has always been superb. There is a side note to whether it's flushing or a break in the line, and that is when those things occur, you may need to know that you have to take the filter head off of your faucet and clean it, because residue and sediment and sand can get into there, and
Yep.
then your faucet's spraying like this.
Or it destroys your pump,
Or,
so to
yes.
speak.
Let's make a note next year that John's going to have this announcement.
Actually, it's just to highlight the fact that they've been really good. The
Well, I'm
water
going to ask
department's been really
Catherine
good.
Tinsley, have you experienced any discoloration in the past? How about you, Harry?
No.
There you go. How about you,
I
Gary?
didn't have discoloration. I never had.
There we go.
I didn't have discoloration either.
Yeah.
That wasn't the issue.
No, we have good well-quality water.
Anyway,
So don't worry about it, that's the problem. Okay, Pumpkin Fest, on to something much more serious. Pumpkin Fest returns to the Hamilton Public Safety Building on Saturday, October 26th at 1 p.m. with pumpkin carving, face painting, arts and crafts, games, a bouncy house. My kids used to love that. A children's costume parade and dance party. My kids did love that too. The afternoon fun wraps up with Pumpkin in the Park, when all carved pumpkins are eliminated and line the border of the Patton Park's Weaver Pond. Sounds great. If you're kids, parents with kids. Trick or treat in Wenham. Oh yes, used to love that too. On Halloween, October 31st, bring your kiddos. I'm reading a typo here. Kiddos.
now that sounds like Mickey.
out for trick-or-treating at Wenham Town Hall, right here, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., or the police and fire departments from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m.
And Jack Wilhelm is the festivity giver-outer of candy.
Yeah, maybe I'll be there for an hour and give it out. There will be games and activities at Town Hall with a variety of Halloween treats. From the Wenham Police Department, official evening trick-or-treat hours in the town of Wenham this year will be 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., which is the same as every year. Have a safe and happy Halloween. How many people do you get at your house?
It varies.
Yeah, mine too. All the way from about 17 to about 50.
Right. There are a lot of young families moving.
Oh,
to
you've
town
got
now,
a
so.
big neighborhood in the
Yeah.
back.
But they come from other neighborhoods, you know? So I never know how much to get. So I get a bunch of candy and, Mary Jane, I have to eat it the next 3
Yeah, I know,
days.
that's
It's
the
terrible.
problem. That's the problem.
I don't eat it.
Trials we have to
Right.
take on.
Our Purple Heart Trail and Fun Run. The Purple Heart Trail 10, these announcements, it seems like we have much more these days than we had a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, I think we're focusing on making sure the community knows what's going on.
Guess they don't. The Purple Heart Trail 10K and Fun Run will be held on Veterans Day weekend, Sunday, November 10th. The 10K route runs the entire Purple Heart, I never heard of this before, Purple Heart Trail from the Patton Homestead to Patton Park and back. The 1K Fun Run route circles the Patton, it's only 1K, is that all?
Yep, that's the one I'm doing.
I can do that one. I can do that too.
3/4 of a mile.
That's right. I had somebody running a 5K for Gordon College recently. How many miles is that? So only 3.1 miles. So that's nothing. I could have done that too. The 1K Fun Run route circles the Patton Homestead along the Wood Road by the Ipswich River. That sounds interesting. The event is sponsored by the Patton Homestead and co-sponsored by the A.P. Gardner American Legion Post 194. Money raised will help further the mission of the Patton Homestead, Inc. For more information, visit pattonhomestead.org. Next is a very important event.
Before you get to the next one?
Sure.
I have a little bit of a connection to this one, so I...
Purple Heart Trail?
The Purple Heart Trail.
Oh, really? I'm
I
sorry.
learned
I'm sorry.
through that, that there actually is a Purple Heart Trail, like nationally recognized, and you can see the signs. I didn't know that existed until I heard more about this. But it is the first year that this group is doing it, and they have already gotten pretty good response, but they are looking for more runners, and they're excited to have it and hope it'll be successful, because even though it says further the mission of the Patton Homestead, the mission of the Patton Homestead has a lot to do with furthering betterment for veterans. So it's really...
Well, that's true.
It really
They've been doing a
loops
lot of
back
programs
to veterans.
for veterans.
So I'm going to put an extra plug for folks to please get online and sign
You're
up
going to
for
run
that.
this race, by the way?
No, but I'm going to walk the Fun Run, the 1K. It's a walk run. What can I say? That's the best I can do.
We're going to have photographs.
I will be in full costume. No.
So nobody knows who you
I'll be
are.
with my grandkids. They'll think it's normal.
There you go. All right. Veterans Day, which is very important. Join us Monday, November 11th, for a brief remembrance at the Cheeseman Memorial in Pingree Park at 10:15 a.m., followed by an 11 a.m. ceremony at Veterans Memorial on Main Street. to honor our veterans and celebrate the 101st anniversary of the signing of the Peace Treaty to end World War I. Light refreshments will be served at the fire department immediately after the ceremony. What does that mean, light refreshments? Was it ginger ale and some, cookies or something like that?
Might be coffee and cookies.
Coffee and cookies.
Isn't that the activity that the Boy Scouts used to have something afterwards?
I think-
That time we were over at the bridge.
The bridge, that's
You know, where
correct.
we had the ceremony
So,
at the
yes,
bridge.
instead, we do it over here at the
Ah,
Fire.
War Memorial.
Yeah.
The new
yeah,
one.
but the food afterwards.
Used to be at the
It
firehouse.
used to be sponsored by the
Boy Scouts.
Troop 28.
Yeah, okay.
That is correct. I'll have to check with Matt on that one.
Make sure it was the same.
Okay, continuing on these announcements. Wreaths across America. On Saturday, December 14th at noon, high noon. I just watched the movie High Noon again. It was
Again, would be the operative word.
amazing. The town of Wenham will lay wreaths on our veterans' graves. And yours truly will be there, by the way, representing the Air Force. I didn't have this in there, but I'm going to plug that in anyway. Graves simultaneously with participants at Arlington National Cemetery and communities across the nation. Please help by sponsoring a wreath at $15 each. Volunteering. By the way, we want the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts and the Girl Scouts.
They will all be in attendance. They've all been invited or being invited. I did speak to our veterans group to assure them that I do have housing this year again.
Yeah, that came
For
up
the
at our
wreaths.
veterans meeting recently.
Yep.
So as an aside, that I think we laid 204 wreaths last year.
Correct.
The financing is already up to, at our Veterans Committee recently, last week, at 295. So we're already like 70 or 80 donors financing wreaths higher than we were last year, and we still have quite a
We're trying to get to
more than a
500.
month to go. Yeah, we're trying to get
Is the
500.
goal.
And that Win Dodge is chairing the FinCom portion of the Veterans Committee and we're doing very, very well.
And what fascinates me is that we have veterans in our cemetery that go back to the French and Indian War.
We have 11 veterans.
We've been
I can't
around a
name them
long
exactly,
time.
but we have 11 veterans of the French and Indian War.
Yeah.
And the protocol in the past has been we lay the wreaths on the oldest veterans, oldest veterans of the cemetery. So we certainly got that in the Civil War. And we got all the way through the First World War, I believe, and partly through the Second World War. Anyway, we're hoping to lay 500 wreaths, which will cover everybody through the Second World War, plus at the December 14th. And last year we had a fantastic weather day, and it didn't rain. It was sunny. It was in the low 70s, and there was a very, very large turnout, and that hopefully we can get that again this year. Let me go back and read let's see. Okay, light refreshments will be served at the fire department immediately after the ceremony. Again, Anthony's already described what light refreshments mean. Well, that was the Veterans Day. Okay. Please help in sponsoring. To learn more about the Wreaths Across America, including a link to online donations for Wreaths in Wenham, visit the homepage at our Town of Wenham website.
And this is all
I hope
in
I'm done.
conjunction with what happens in Arlington National Cemetery.
Same
At the
hour.
same time, same day, same hour. Yes, absolutely.
Right.
And by the way, it's good that you let us know that you are a veteran and the Air
Yes.
Force. So thank you, sir.
Staff Sergeant
For your
John Williams,
service.
113-80750. Sir,
Okay.
I'll never forget those numbers.
I guess people don't.
We have, of the 6 military services, Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Maritime, and Coast Guard, I represent the Air Force at the research.
That's right. That's correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
you did great.
Yeah, and that, thank you. So we turn it over to you after those light comments, Anthony.
Oh,
can
thank
Give us
you.
the most serious, update.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. My report's in your packets, and I also just handed you a copy. The first thing is that I talk about is the FY21 budget for those that weren't here last Tuesday. Just to recap, we're looking at approximately $1 million structural deficit. We need to really take the comprehensive look at potential revenue enhancements as well as a reduction in expenses to close that gap. Recommending to follow DOR and GFOA best practices and work on our financial policies with regards to free cash spending, capital improvement, and our reserve accounts. You mentioned social media. We are going to try to keep that updated frequently, so it's a great way to follow along what's going on in town. Finance Department, just to...
Before you go on,
Sure.
I did notice an email, I think it was yesterday or today, that the state has actually certified our free cash for $954,000 and change, right?
That's correct, yes.
Which we expected to do, but it's nice to always have that certification.
Right.
Which we expected.
Which we expected. The assistant, the position that was formerly a finance analyst and payroll position that the board upgraded to the assistant treasurer collector seemed to work. We're getting some great responses. We're up to 19.
Wow.
Wow, 19 applications.
19 applications with some with municipal experience, quite extensive municipal experience. So very pleased with that number. Tomorrow is the last date, and I would expect that we'll review applications and interview for the remainder of October or so, and hopefully be ready to give somebody a conditional offer later in the month.
That's great.
Yeah, it's good news. We were really thrilled with that,
I want to go into budget season without
with finance people.
all hands on deck.
That's right. That's right. And just to reiterate, on October 1st, Patty did give her resignation that she's going to be going back to Kittery in a newly expanded role as the finance director and assistant town manager. Patty's last day is going to be on Friday, November 22nd. Public Works, Bill and his crew are doing a lot of paving and crack sealing and rebuilding the catch basins around town. And they're also getting their equipment ready for loose leaf collection, which will begin on November 12th, running through mid-January, weather dependent. So please monitor our social media and website for updates when they'll be in your area. You mentioned the flu clinic.
Before we go on,
Yeah.
I think that we should give frequent updates of that, because in years past, we've had snowstorms in December, and they haven't been able to make the rounds for second collections, and the leaves have been out there in the street, and that it's an impediment to snow plowing, it's an impediment to traffic, and I think we need to announce sometime where, okay, we're all done, and that, sorry, we had hoped to do until, whatever you just said, January 15th, but because of the weather conditions, we won't be making any more, so don't put out any more leaves. If you have them out there, rake them back, because sometimes these leaves get closer and closer and closer to the middle of the road, and that...
And they're dangerous.
And they're dangerous, and so that I think we need updates from Bill Tyak about inclement weather conditions that will inhibit him from continuing on a second collections. And that if we have to cease second collections, we need to advertise that extensively, because otherwise we're going to have problems on the roads like we have every 3 or 4 years. I don't know if anybody else experienced that, but I certainly have. How about you?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, well, that's part of that reason why we wanted to do the social media, because it really reaches a diverse group of citizens here in town that may be Facebook users, Twitter users, and we really want to make sure that information gets out there so that the community is well informed as to what's going on. So we certainly will stay on top of that.
Good.
On November 14th, Jackie and I were going to be presenting at the COA for the Lunch and Learn program. Looking forward to that. We're going to do a little
What is that?
the Lunch and Learn program that the Council of Aging does. So what we're going to do is basically give an overview of the town government, sort of what is the first night of the Citizen Academy. So, yeah, we have...
Sort of a town government review.
Sure, yeah, exactly. And with a little activity to go with it. So Jackie and I will be there for that.
Great. Great.
I did that this year. I'm sure Kevin's done it several times in the past, but there's only like 8 people, but those 8 people did give me some difficult questions to answer. I hope I did a good job. And anyway, they were well prepared with their questions. And
Well, you're welcome to come on the 14th, Jack, if you...
I hopefully that was televised. You can just show clips of my answers.
Kudos to the fire department last week with their open house. It was Fire Prevention Week from the 6th through the 12th. They had a great turnout.
Kids had a wonderful
They had a great time. So it was a great job by our men and women of the Wenham Fire Department.
And I personally met 2 or 3 new folks to town who showed up there. Some of them were dressed in fireman garb.
Yeah.
I had no idea who was under there, and one of them waved at me because I guess they hadn't seen me before.
It was a great night. And the last thing, which I know is an important issue, Main Street traffic improvements. So we, thanks to Representative Brad Hill, we were able to get DOT to move a little quicker and get that contract over to us so we can get the funds. So last week, they did send to us. We executed it right away, signed it, and sent it right back. Now we're just waiting for the state to sign it and send us the copy back to us. Once that happens, then we can engage in the engineers and we can start the whole process of that project. So more to come on that.
So more to come would be, for example, a detailed presentation by you to the citizens, perhaps followed by a public hearing on one of the proposed changes to Main Street out here. Because I know that there are diverse opinions about, what people speculate might happen, so that's not a brief presentation. That's going to be a more detailed presentation, and possibly, presumably, a public hearing or something like that subsequent to that presentation.
I think a public hearing is required.
Yeah,
is it not?
I do too.
Yeah.
Yep. Right.
And
then
I think
after
the
that,
engineers will be helpful with the presentation
oh, they
as
will be,
well,
yes.
so.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
A
know.
summary of that prior to that, of this meeting would be also in
Yeah.
order.
Yeah, as soon as we get that contract back and I meet with the engineers, we'll have something, hopefully within the next meeting or two, I would expect.
Yeah, let's make sure we promote it as much as we possibly can,
Yeah.
because I've had a lot of side comments and conversations with people, very concerned about what's going on here. You know, it's horrible. Are we ever going to do anything? And I keep assuring them, yes, it's coming, but not overnight.
It took me 10 minutes to take a left-hand turn on time. You probably did too, but you followed me, so that, terrible.
Yeah.
You also want to just dart out there, but, you're causing traffic problems if you do.
Yeah, when Cherry Street, Monument Street was shut off, I think it was last week for a short bit, I don't even know what the reason was. I couldn't believe.
There was a house on Monument Street that needed water
yeah.
hookup, and there was at least a 20-car backup on Cherry Street, which I happened to let Anthony know, and that 20 cars on that street is
That's what I said,
incredible.
right, it was way back.
It was.
Yeah, so hopefully this will all be played out through the process of evaluation of what we're gonna do to the roads, so. Good.
Yeah, I would expect some great conversations and ideas that people throw out there.
Well, you have to fix it. Might need compromises, we have to fix it.
Glad you're moving it along quick.
It's thanks to Representative Hill. He was, when he came in, I talked to him and said, geez, what's the story? He made a phone call in my office, and within an hour, we had somebody getting back to us, so that's
Great.
really helpful.
Great.
Thanks to him for that.
Great help for us.
Yeah.
Great help. That's all I have.
Okay, John, you're up.
All right, my assignment is to go through the so-called consent agenda. For those who are not familiar with what that is, we would take anything more than just one item and spool those items up under one motion. And so I will read off what this motion will consist of. I move that the Board of Selectmen vote to approve all the items in the consent agenda, including the following. Meeting minutes of June 20th, 2019. A one-day liquor license request from Rosa Ruggiero.
Another Italian name, John.
Yeah, I know.
Guerrero is what I would say.
Peg Railroad.
Which is being hosted at the Wenham Museum location for the event at 132 Main Street on October 21st, 2019.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Any discussion, questions?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You're up, Captain.
Okay, so the new business consists of a few appointment requests,
Yes.
and I will read the motions. The first one is, I move that the Board of Selectmen appoint Jeffrey A. Ham to the Conservation Committee for a term beginning, I have a blank here, October 15th, 2019, and ending June 30th, 2021 or 22. Is that a choice?
It's a choice.
Whose choice?
Board of Selectmen's.
Well, I'm going to put in 2022. That's because they can leave, but they, so that, I'll, given the choice, we have, quorum problems, why not reel them in and hang on to them?
I've learned a lot about the quorum problems recently, and it's
Reel
not
'em in and
necessarily
hang 'em.
as a result of lack of members in the committee. I'll let you go through it, and I want to get back to the quorum problems in a minute with Anthony. Go ahead.
Okay, so that's the motion. Term beginning October 15th, which is today, 2019, and ending June 30th, 2022.
I'll second your motion.
All in
Further
favor?
discussion? No?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous?
Okay.
Congratulations, Jeffrey.
Yes, and thank you.
Jeffrey.
Before we go on to the rest of them, I spent some time on this vacancy. Have you researched the quorum issues that we talked about with the chairman of this committee?
Yeah, so my understanding with the Conservation Commission is because of, and I forget the act, it's the Water Act that they rule on or govern on, and it requires a quorum of those appointed.
Right.
So it's not of the total appointment. So in this case, it's 7.
Right.
Whereas in another situation, if it's not defined, it could be a quorum of those appointed.
Or present.
So, or
No, appointed.
Yeah.
appointed.
Right, we've researched that in the past.
Well, nobody knew that when I brought it up. So
Right.
I think one of the things
Nobody listened to me, but yeah, okay.
you weren't there for my
I guess
conversation
not.
with him.
I guess not, I could have told you.
The chairman didn't know, by the way, either
No.
did Anthony, either did
So
I.
thank you for researching that again.
But I think it brings up another point. I think amongst the bylaws we might want to change is to change the bylaw to a quorum of the appointed committee members as opposed to the number on the committee. So if there's only 5 members of the committee, like there are right now, before this appointment right here, the quorum would be 3.
Well, I think on the Concom, could be wrong, that's statutory.
Right.
So there's nothing that we could do in
Because-
town to change
Yes,
that.
correct. That is
On the
statutory. So
Concom.
that one, exactly. The other committees, yes, we could do that.
Okay.
And I think that it was a perfect storm on the Concom, because there was one member who, last
Yes,
term,
indeed. Yes,
who
indeed.
missed a lot of meetings through personal illness, and there was one member, was one member that had to recuse himself because...
members.
Right. So there was a perfect storm, and having more people just means if somebody recuses themselves and somebody doesn't show up for a long time, you have more people. But anyway, the fact is, they must have a quorum of 7. They must have 4 people in order to run their meeting.
Right, apparently, as we just learned. However, I think 2 of the members who had to recuse themselves, who were present, had conflicts of interest. And so one of the things I think we need to do more carefully in the future is to find out whether these people have a conflict of interest who are applicants to be in the Concom. Because we can't have people applying to the Concom, because this is a very closed loop of these people, and that all they have to do is have work for one of the developers, they have to recuse themselves, in that that's also going to give us quorum problems in the future if we don't carefully vet the credentials of the applicants.
I agree with that. I think you're exactly right, Jack. I think the balance has been that those are also the people who are experts. So to your point, it's not a bad idea to have one person like that, but if too many of the Concom is like that, then...
So we have the person who hadn't attended for 2 years, which you didn't name, and that 2 other people who were, and we had vacancies
Right.
on the committee.
So it was a
but
perfect
all
storm.
A perfect storm, but we can reduce the perfect storm to hurricane, perhaps, or a tropical storm, if we are more careful about who we put on the committee in terms of their potential conflicts, which I was quite surprised to learn about, as you encouraged me to delve into that, and I did.
Okay. Ready for the next appointment?
I think so.
Okay. The next one has to do with the Council on Aging Board. I move that the Board of Selectmen appoint Gretchen B. Muschamp to the Council on Aging for a term beginning October 15th, 2019, and ending June 30th, 2022.
I'll second your motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, congratulations, Gretchen.
Another good addition, I think.
Hope so.
And
She's a-
yeah, the last one has to do with the WISH, a very important and
Yeah.
under-recognized group, Wenham Issues of Social Services Help, who very silently help, mostly financially, quite a few people in town who don't really have any other resource. So, important. So I move that the Board of Selectmen appoint Kathleen M. Gobin to the Council on Aging for a term beginning October 15th, 2019, and ending June 30th, 2022.
I'll second your motion.
Motion says Council on Aging, can you change it to wish?
Oh, I'm sorry, and I just read Council on Aging.
Oh,
Yeah.
So that appointment should be for
I take it back.
WISSH. Thank you, Catherine. See, that's what happens when I read what's in front of me. Anyway, so I will take that back and make it an appointment to WISH for a term, for that same term.
Now I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Very good, congratulations to those three people.
Yeah, thank you so much.
That's all
And
I
that,
have.
I have no other no other stuff I want to bring up, and I move that we adjourn.
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
A record, 7:01.